back, Relentless Press. Family, quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers are out of the way. So today I have tight end rankings for you. I'm going to go over my top 28 options at the position and also break these guys down into tiers as well to help set you guys up for success so you can get the best value possible for all of your picks, crush your draft, and go after that championship. To all my current subscribers out there, thank you guys so much. Could not do it without you. If you are not a Relentless Press subscriber yet, that's all right. Go ahead and crush that button for me. We are on our way to our first 1,000 subscribers and would love for you to come along with us on the journey. Now, with all that said and done, let's hop right into it. I'm starting on my first tier, and there's just a single player here who stands alone among the rest. Pretty obvious who it is. It is Travis Kelce. This guy's been the tight end one in fantasy football in 6 out of the last 7 years. Utter dominance. He gave owners nearly 6 points per game more than the second tight end last year, which was TJ Hawkinson. So a massive positional advantage each and every week. And that is why Kelce is going as high as a top 5 pick overall in some drafts. That's a little pricey for my blood, but if you are picking him in the top 7, 8, 9 picks, I would not fault you for it. Kelce has 7 straight years with over 1,000 yards, and he's averaging 8.5 touchdowns per season. He is basically a guarantee to hit for you and to give you a monster advantage week in and week out. Into my second tier, and I only have one player here as well. I'm going to put up multiples on the screen just for saving space as I go through these tiers. But at 2, it is Mark Andrews. He was the tight end 1 overall just a couple years ago in 2021. And that season, he had 107 receptions, well over 1,300 yards, and 9 tutties. So we know that he has that massive ceiling. He's probably the only one who can threaten Kelce for the overall tight end 1 in 2023. Mark Andrews was a tight end 3 last year, and he did that while not only battling injuries himself, but also dealing with the loss of Lamar Jackson. So if Jackson can stay healthy this year, that would be Andrews' path to overtaking Kelce. And also, he's the clear number 1 in this Baltimore passing attack. They did add weapons, so maybe a little bit more of a threat to his touches. But Andrews is still going to see a ton of them in this offense for Baltimore. It also looks like Todd Monken is bringing in a more pass-happy offense to this Ravens team, which would mean more looks for Andrews. As we slide into my third tier, we finally get to one with more than one player in it. I have 2 sitting here, and at number 3 overall, I have TJ Hawkinson, who was a beast after getting traded to Minnesota last year. And even with Justin Jefferson there, Hawkinson was a focal point of that offense. He averaged 9 targets per game in the 10 games he played in purple, and he had 6 catches per as well. I think with a full offseason for Minnesota, some time to work into this offense a little bit more, we could see Hawkinson take off to even bigger heights in 2023. Over the last 3 seasons, he has finishes of tight end 4, tight end 13, and then last year he was the overall tight end 2. So we see he put up big time numbers in multiple seasons, and Minnesota's offense is going to be one of the best in the league. I expect Hawkinson to take advantage of that this year. George Kittle is the last guy in this tier for me. I have him at number 4. He's been here or better in 5 straight seasons, and that is dealing with all the injuries that he has. We know with Kittle that is a big part, unfortunately, that we have to deal with as owners. There's probably also some touchdown regression coming for Kittle after he scored 11 times in 2022. But the good news is that the San Francisco 49ers are going to remain a juggernaut on offense, and Kittle is a guy who will continually be there underneath to rack up catches, rack up touches, and his yard after the catch ability is among the best in the league, especially at the tight end position, so he will not suffer. You see that ADP just inside of the top 50. I think that takes into account his injury history enough where I'd be willing to pull the trigger at that price. Next, into tier number 4 we go. Last year's guy who was supposed to blow the roof off of it and instead ended up crushing owners In at number 5, who I believe is going to have a bounce back year, I have Kyle Pitts here. He was a top 5 tight end as a rookie. That is something that we rarely, if ever, see. He put up 68 catches on 110 targets and over 1,000 yards that year. So naturally, we thought last year he was going to explode. That was not to be. He dealt with injuries and also a very low volume passing attack, and really not a great offense overall in Atlanta. After the drafting of Bijan Robinson, another year with Desmond Ridder, I think Atlanta's offense takes at least a little step forward, and it should be more dangerous overall as well. There should be more points scored for the Falcons in 2023, and so I think that Pitts is going to benefit from that. My next man up in a very stacked tier, in at number 6, and a guy who could easily post top 3 numbers in 2023, I have Darren Waller up next. He has a new landing spot in New York, probably going to be Daniel Jones's number 1 option because there are no real threats at receiver there. Now, unfortunately, Waller does have the toughest strength of schedule in the entire NFL, and he has finished as a tight end 17 or lower in 2 of 3 seasons while dealing with injuries. So the question is, can he rediscover his 2019-2020 self, where he posted finishes of tight end 5 and tight end 2 overall? And the answer is, if he can stay healthy, he most certainly can, but that is a big if. There is no competition for touches here. He is the true alpha in the passing game for New York. So if you are going to draft him, then you are believing he has what it takes to stay healthy finally in 2023. At number 7, my next man is Dallas Goedert for Philadelphia. He's averaging over 10 yards per target and over 56 yards per game in each of the last 2 seasons. Goedert also is notable for giving you an excellent floor. He may not explode every week, and he may not have massive peak weeks, but for the most part, he is going to give you solid production. He is not going to kill you, and for many people, that is more than enough when we're talking about the tight end position in our lineups. Goedert was the tight end 5 last year in fantasy points per game, so when he was healthy, as I said, he was productive. An unfortunate part about his game is that he has that touchdown upside capped, if only because he has not found a way to eclipse over 5 touchdowns over the last 5 seasons. Now, that's not all bad, because that is not a bad number to hit every year, but we're not going to have a massive breakout year where he posts top 3 numbers overall at the position, because he is probably the clear number 3 option in this offense behind Devontae Smith and, of course, A.J. Brown. To number 8, a guy that I picked to break out last year, who certainly did, who I think is going to continue that trajectory in 2023. I have Pat Freiermuth up next. Friar Tuck, as I call him, has been the tight end 14 and tight end 7 overall in his first 2 seasons. We love to see a tight end start hot like that, because historically that has not happened. He did only have a pair of touchdowns last year, and he had 7 in his rookie year. So I think he's due for some positive touchdown regression, and being able to finish as a top 7 tight end while only scoring 2 touchdowns at the position just shows us how much upside this guy possesses. Legit top 5, even in a run-heavy offense that I think Pittsburgh is going to be this season. Just like Goedert, he offers an awesome floor. Week in and week out, he is putting up numbers, even if he doesn't win you your week. My 9th ranked tight end, and a guy who did break out last year as well, Evan Ingram, is up next. The only real issue I see with Ingram being able to repeat what he did last year is, of course, the addition of Calvin Ridley becoming eligible. There is just going to be less targets available in this offense. Now, that being said, Jacksonville is an ascending offense. They are going to be a top 10 scoring team in 2023, and after a tight end 6 finish for Ingram last year, he doesn't even have to hit those numbers this year for him to hit at this ranking. With that massive 4th tier out of the way, before I hop into tier number 5, quick reminder, Smash the like button on the video if you're enjoying the content. Please subscribe to the channel as well and keep Relentless Press moving forward. I have 4 people in this next tier, and at the top of it is David Njoku from Cleveland. He's been the tight end 21 and tight end 15 over the last 2 seasons, but he did that with pretty much mediocre at best quarterback play. If we see that jump forward from Deshaun Watson this year, which I fully expect to happen because I have him as a top 10 pick, then we're going to see big-time production from Njoku if he can stay healthy. And Njoku could be the number 2 option in this passing game. We know Deshaun Watson, if he bounces back, is good for well over 4,000 yards, which means a big slice of the pie could be coming for David. Last year, he also averaged over 44 yards per game, so he gives you that solid floor. My 11th ranked tight end is someone who took a little bit to get going, but once the second half of the season started, this guy took off, and I think he has big time potential to surprise us in 2023. Greg Dulcich is here next. He's got that number 6 strength of schedule, and he has 8 or more targets in the 4 of 10 games that he played as a rookie. So Russell Wilson was looking for him plenty, and to do that at the tight end position as a rookie gives good signs for what he could grow into in his role this season. We've already seen multiple injuries to the wide receiver position in Denver. So that means that more targets and opportunities have clearly already opened up for him. We talked about how he gained the trust of Wilson last year and how Wilson fed him. Well, he is a prime candidate to jump forward should Wilson make that leap under Sean Payton in year 1 of their offense. My last tight end 1 this year is Chigoziem Okonkwo from Tennessee. One of the most fun names you can say in the entire league. This guy was a killer in the second half of last season, seemingly out of nowhere. He averaged 14.1 yards per catch, almost 10 yards per target as a rookie in a very run-heavy offense. If I would have recorded this video yesterday, I would have told you that there are maybe too many threats for targets in this offense for Okonkwo to truly break out. However, yesterday in practice, it looks like Treylon Burks, the second-year wide receiver, went down with some sort of leg injury. Of course, it's early. I don't want to make any assumptions. But if Treylon Burks were to miss any sort of significant time, it would be Okonkwo who would be one of the main beneficiaries of that, of course, along with Nuke Hopkins. My lucky number 13 and the last tight end I have in my 5th tier, Cole Kmet, is up next. He led Chicago last year in targets, receptions, yards, and touchdowns through the air. So he was the be-all and do-all for the Bears last year in the passing game, especially in that second half. Now, I know he is going to take a step back because of the addition of DJ Moore. That is okay with me because Justin Fields should be able to take a step forward as a passer, and that is more important. Kmet has a top 10 strength of schedule. I expect the Bears offense to be better than it was last year, and over the first 2 years of his career, Kmet has finishes of tight end 22 and then all the way up to tight end 11 overall last year, so we could certainly see another jump from him. He found a way last year a lot of the time to make himself available after Justin Fields had left the pocket. I expect more of the same this season. Into tier number 6 we go. And a guy that I had a little bit of trouble placing because I love what he brought to the table for us last year, and he's in an offense that has a ton of upside. But at 14, I have Gerald Everett. The only reason I have him a little bit lower here than consensus is because there are just so many mouths to feed in Los Angeles. You have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, of course. They have been there for a while, but they also just spent a first-round pick on Quentin Johnson, the wideout out of TCU. And they also have Austin Eckler, who caught 100 balls last year out of the backfield. So I just don't know what the volume is going to look like for Everett. But he could also step into a massive role if there were some injuries to pile up, and we know that that has happened plenty in Los Angeles. Everett has only missed 2 games over the last 3 seasons, so he is not an injury risk himself. He was able to set career highs basically across the board in his first year with Justin Herbert, so in year 2, a step forward would not be a surprise. This is also a Kellen Moore year. He's coming over from Dallas. I love what he brings to the offensive side of the ball. I think he can be creative in getting balls to the tight end position. We saw Dalton Schultz with a ton of success in Dallas, so another opportunity for Everett to take a step forward. Next up to number 15, it is the ex-Dallas Cowboy, Dalton Schultz. He was a top tight end over the last 2 years, but this move to Houston, I think, makes him take a step back. CJ Stroud is going to be a good quarterback, I think, but it will take him time to adapt to the NFL game, and that is going to hurt early on in the season the production from Schultz, I believe. Now, that being said, there should be a solid floor here for Schultz, and that's because there really is no competition for touches. Schultz could easily be the number 2, and there is a world where he is the number 1 option in this passing game if some of the young wide receivers don't work out. So even though I have him as the 15th ranked guy, I think he easily has top 7, top 8 upside this season. Tyler Higbee is my next man up and my Sweet 16. He posted big time numbers last year, which surprised me in that Rams offense that pretty much was a train wreck from the get-go, especially when injuries started piling up. But Higbee was among the players who rose to the occasion. He was top 5 in targets at the tight end position with well over 100. He also was top 5 in receptions with 72, and he was the tight end 9 overall in 2022 without Matthew Stafford for most of the season. Stafford is back and healthy, so that is great news for this offense as a whole, and Higbee is probably the clear number 2 option in this passing game behind Cooper Kupp. So he is going to get that volume once again. Unfortunately, he does have that 29th ranked strength of schedule. You do not love that. But everything else looks pretty decent for Higbee. He is a solid choice if you miss in some of the top guys. Transitioning to tier number 7, at the top of it at 17 is Juwan Johnson. He was last year's tight end, 8 overall. He's had over 4 touchdowns in back-to-back seasons, and it was really the tutties that carried him to that awesome finish last season. The addition of Derek Carr for this offense raises Juwan Johnson's upside pretty significantly, the best passer that he's had to work with, and then Juwan Johnson also has that number 2 strength of schedule. Now, the reason I have him down here is because there are a lot of question marks about this offense, what it's going to look like in the red zone, who are going to get those high value touches. Without Alvin Kamara for the first 3 games, it's a little bit of a boost to Johnson, but we know Taysom Hill is still there as well. Chris Olave has started to break out, and Michael Thomas should be healthy for this season as well. So just a lot of mouths to feed in New Orleans, and that's why I have some hesitancy to put Johnson any higher. My 18th ranked tight end, a former Minnesota Vikings player who I had high hopes for and just never really panned out. Irv Smith Jr. with his new home in Cincinnati is up next. The biggest bonus that you get in drafting him is a cheap piece in the Cincinnati offense. He's also a former 2nd round pick. So there is still some equity in Irv Smith Jr. They brought him in to take over for Hayden Hurst last year. Hasn't really been the talent that was the question for Irv Smith. It has always been his ability to stay healthy. If he can do that for Cincinnati this season, he has potential to crush this ADP. Next in at 19, I have Sam Laporta, the rookie from Detroit. Now, he has upside as the potential number 2 option in the passing attack, at least for the first 6 weeks while Jameson Williams is suspended. However, I will say this. Tight ends historically do not put up big time numbers at the tight end position. We have not seen that consistently. But Laporta might just be a different animal. He ran a 4.5 940 at the combine, and he did it at 6'3", 250 pounds. He has that big size and athleticism and that pass catching ability, which led the Detroit Lions to invest so much in him. I have him up here so high because he is going to be in a very good offense, and if he catches catches on quickly, that will bring in plenty of upside as well. Another rookie up next at number 20 for Buffalo, it is Dalton Kincaid. The Bills traded up to select him in the first round. He was the number 1 rated pass catching tight end available, trying to give Josh Allen more weapons as if he needed it. This guy has 16 touchdowns in 31 collegiate games, and just like Irv Smith Jr. and Sam Laporta, he is a cheap piece, fairly unknown in an excellent offense. And if I'm rolling the dice this late for a tight end, those are the guys I want to try to invest in. I'm going to fly through my last couple of tiers and just give a quick rundown of my next guys up. To tier number 8, starting it off, is Mike Gesicki. He's got that new home in New England. Said it before, I'm not super invested or excited about this offense, at least in the passing game, but Gesicki has shown some upside in the previous years with Miami when given opportunities. If he sees that in a wide receiver and tight end room that do not really have any big time weapons, Gesicki could surprise us. At 22, rookie Trey McBride from Arizona. Ton of question marks from this offense, the biggest one being Kyler Murray, but we know that if Murray plays more than expected, McBride could be a big beneficiary of that. Dawson Knox, the other tight end from Buffalo, is up next. He's had pretty good seasons in the last couple of years, especially in the touchdown category, but he has not been able to consistently produce, and some of that is due to injuries. I don't hate him, but the addition to Dalton Kincaid really saps a ton of his upside away. There's a reason that the Buffalo Bills went out and drafted another tight end. My last tight end 2 in 2023 is Hunter Henry. A little bit of a letdown over the last couple years for New England. He's been able to score touchdowns, but has not been able to help unlock Mac Jones. At 25, I have Noah Fant in Seattle. I just have him dropping because there are so many mouths to feed with that drafting of JSN in the first round. You got Tyler Lockett there, DK Metcalf, and I just do not see enough consistent targets coming his way for him to be a dependable option for us this year. To tier number 9, Zach Ertz in Arizona. Once again, having him after the rookie, there's a reason that they invested a pick in him. At 27, I have Taysom Hill, and I know that this guy was a top 10 tight end last year, but the consistency is the issue for me. We have no clue what his looks are going to be on a week in and week out basis. He might get some big time touches one week and then be completely out of the offense for a month. So he is not someone that I am interested in investing in because I cannot take the goose weeks in my lineup at that tight end position. The last one on my list at 28 is Isaiah Likely. The tight end for Baltimore broke out last year in small sample sizes once Mark Andrews went down with injury. If that were to happen again this year, he would have a clear path to a top 15 tight end season. That will wrap it up for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed the content and that you learned something. Let me know who your favorite tight ends are to draft based on their current ADPs. I think there are a couple very good values this year. Smash the like button if you have not done so already. Subscribe to the channel so we can push Relentless Press over our first 1,000 subscribers. Make sure you check out my quarterback, running back, and wide receiver rankings videos and shorts as well. Hit the notifications button so you do not miss any content. I have things coming out daily. This is Relentless Press. I am your host, Abraham Opatz, and I will see you all